Fellas, do you want to choke your girl? I'm going to show you how in this video. Now, first things first, I'm going to give this disclaimer several times throughout the video, okay? Both ways are dangerous. Both ways can do harm. Alright, but there is a right way and there is a wrong way to do it. First things first, fellas, you want to squeeze the sides. This stops blood flow. Alright, you do not want to put pressure on the windpipe. Alright, bad. Once again, both can cause serious damage. Alright, just because I'm saying there's a right way to do it, that does not mean you can just choke on the side as hard as you can and you think nothing can happen. That is not true. Now, with that being said, you might be thinking to yourself, why bring this up in the video? I don't know if you've ever talked to a girl and she told you that she's into being choked. Alright, you gotta understand, her telling you that she likes being choked does not tell you anything. You're having a conversation with a girl, you ask her what is she into, she's like, I'm into choking. That doesn't tell you anything. That's like being like, hey, what do you want to eat? And she says food. You're not giving me any information. You might be thinking to yourself, why? Because there are 4 different levels to choking. Okay. The first level. Also, before I get into the different levels, I want to make this very clear. There is no shame to any of these levels. No shame. It doesn't matter if you're 1, 2, 3, 4. No shame to any of these levels. There is no right or wrong. It's just what you're into. Now, with that being said, the first level, these are for the women that, or men. There are men out there that like being choked. So, with that being said, the first level, that's more of like the idea. You like the idea of being choked, not necessarily you enjoy the choking sensation itself. You just like the idea. You just want the hand right there. Maybe a firm grip, maybe not. Okay, but you just want to feel the presence of a hand. If she says she's level 1, fellas, once again, she tells you she likes being choked, ask her. Which level? Level 1 is hand on the throat, sides of the throat. Alright. Firm grip or loose grip, but you do not apply any pressure whatsoever. Okay, these are the women that just like the idea. These are the women that want to go to the pool and just tan. All right, they don't actually want to get in the pool. They just want to tan. All right, nothing wrong with that. Then we got level 2. All right, these are for the women that want to put their toes, put their foot in the pool that is choking. Okay, all this is, okay, you have number 1 being loose grip, firm grip, no pressure on either. And now level 2, we're applying pressure. Okay, slight pressure. All right, this is anywhere from like a really firm grip to like slightly squeezing. All right, this is for the women that want to be choked, but also they're not trying to see stars. They want to be choked, but they're not trying to see stars. They're not trying to pass out. All right, that's why you're not gripping the sides hard whatsoever. All right, once again, there is no right or wrong. And for another disclaimer, okay, choking is dangerous. All right, make sure there's consent involved. Make sure you're listening. Make sure you're paying attention. All right, sides. Level 3. All right, level 3 is this is a little bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? This is a little bit more complex, right? Because level 3 is anywhere from, all right, we're applying pressure. We're applying slight pressure to, we're applying pressure to the point where they're like possibly on the verge. Oh, I'm not going to say that, but like on the verge of passing out, seeing stars. All right, so level 3 is like, okay, I want you to really, I'm trying to think of it like of an example. Right, but it's hard to like give like a real life example of level 3. But I will just say level 3, she's comfortable with seeing stars. Okay, she doesn't want to pass out. She doesn't want to pass out. She wants to stay conscious throughout the entire experience. But she is okay with seeing stars. All right, she is okay with a lot of pressure. All right, so that's the best way to sum it up. Level 3s are okay with a lot of pressure at the sides of the neck. They just don't want to pass out. And that is the spectrum from, like I said, because the end of level 2 is like light pressure. So now we're going from like medium to hard pressure. Hard being on the end of like, okay, I'm seeing stars. And then you might be thinking to yourself, Mark, what's level 4? Level 4 couldn't possibly be them wanting to be unconscious. Well, fellas, fellas, before I get into that, have y'all ever seen those shows? And ladies, have y'all ever seen the shows either? Where like there's a guy who like he's the freaked out person in the show, and they catch him masturbating with a belt around his neck, and like he might be unconscious, and he wakes up or whatever the case may be, and they're like, what is that? So, and once again, I've never done this. I can just only tell you from what I've experienced, well, from what women have told me, from what I've done to them, and from what they've experienced with other men have told me. Regardless, apparently it is euphoric for them to, if you can time it correctly with them finishing and passing out, apparently it's euphoric, right? It's almost like they're finishing, they go to sleep, and they wake up and they're still finishing. That's like the best way that has been described to me. I don't personally, like I you know what I'm saying, I personally don't like being choked like that, so I couldn't tell you if that's true or not. I'm just going from what's been relayed to me as to why they like it. But yes, level 4 is when women are comfortable with you choking them until they pass out. Fellas, once again, there is no shame here. All right, and that's no shame on the opposite side as well. If you don't feel comfortable, that's very important. Let me say this, fellas. If you don't feel comfortable going to a certain level, that is A-okay too, by the way. No shame in that. If you don't feel comfortable doing 3, you don't feel comfortable doing 2, you don't feel comfortable doing 4, you don't feel comfortable doing 1, nothing wrong with that. All right, just make sure you talk with your partner. Make sure if is that a deal breaker for her? If it is, then you know what I mean, you guys aren't compatible. I'll find someone that you're compatible with. But yes, level 4 choking is when you're choking them until they're unconscious. All right. I already explained to you the how they said it's like euphoric or whatever the case may be. And fellas, this is super duper important. Because once again, like I said, just because I say the right way to do it is by squeezing the sides, does not mean you can't cause damage. You do not want to keep squeezing while they're unconscious. Okay? As soon as you see them pass over, you let go. Okay, now there are going to be some women who, I mean, and this ties into, you know, CNC almost. Well, it is technically CNC, but you're going to talk to some women who going to want you to keep knocking the Mario coins out of them while they're unconscious. All right, and then you're going to meet some women who want you to stop completely. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I've interacted with like 4 or 5 level 4 chokers, and they've all consented to like you choke them, and they want to continue to experience it while coming out of it. So like I want to say it's almost like a package deal. They want you to keep going, but I'm not. I feel like it'd be crazy for me to say because I've never met a woman like that. There aren't any women out there like that. So always make sure to have this conversation, guys. Always make sure to have this conversation. You should be having your conversation with anything, but especially this. I think that's everything. Usually the videos are a lot longer, but I feel like this is a very straightforward video. I feel like there's not too many nuances. It's not really more of an in-depth thing. This is a very niche thing, right? I feel like choking is becoming way more common. I feel like choking is becoming way more common in like today's society or whatever the case may be. Story time. Actually, let me give you guys a little story. I usually do stories in the very beginning of videos, but I wanted to explain to you. Usually the storytelling makes sense in the beginning, but I feel like the stories actually make more sense towards the end of this video since choking. My first experience with choking was with a level 4 choker. My first experience, there was no baby steps to it. It was, she was like, I want you to choke me. And I was like, yeah, sure. I don't mind choking you, whatever the case may be. And she was like sides, and she was like harder. And I didn't know, like, because once again, this is my first time. In my head, I'm like, she's going to stop me before she passed out. She did not. She just passed out, and I freaked out. I thought I killed her. I was like, oh, God, no, my life is over. She had a roommate. I'm like, do I got to dispose of the roommate, too? Am I going to have to flee to Mexico? What, like her, she literally put her roommate in danger that day. But regardless, she woke up, and I'm like 20 feet away because she's on the couch, and I'm like close to the kitchen. I just know I wasn't close to her. She wakes up, she sees me, and she's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? I thought I killed you." And she's like, and she didn't even listen to me. Go figure. But she's just like, "Why did you stop?" What do you mean, why did I stop? Really put me in the deep end. That's a little story time for y'all. If I'm being honest with you, she was probably only out for like 10 seconds. Probably wasn't that long. But in the moment, it felt like 30 minutes because I was literally going over every scenario of like, am I going to have to hide the body? There's a witness. Like, do I just leave town now? Do I just pack a bag and then just drive to Mexico? Like, what do I do? So, yes, make sure you have that conversation beforehand when she tells you she likes being choked, because neither party wants to be surprised. Neither party wants to be surprised. With that being said, guys, thank you for watching this video. Subscribe if you're not already. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow because we are definitely gonna make another one.